Hello Drive Radio fans, Richard Rush here today with Walt McLean behind the camera, and today we're going to take a quick look at the 2018 BMW i3S. Now the S is what's new for 2018 as compared to 2017, and really what it includes is a more powerful electric motor, a sport tuned suspension, and wider tires to improve performance and handling. And it still does, BMW still does offer the range extender, which this vehicle actually has on it. But with that being said, Walt, let's give a quick walk around and we'll go from there. One thing I'm going to do is actually open the boot, the trunk, whatever you want to call it. And the main reason that I'm going to do that is to show you that obviously this car is all electric except for that range extender. You've got the charging cable right here and a few other things, your windshield washer fluid and that sort of thing. But this is some nice storage, so you don't have to take up some of the storage that's in the back. Like this car in 2017, it's a little bit different, definitely polarizing with its looks. But again, just kind of wanted to show you that. So as we come around, you'll notice that I do like the two-toned paint color. In fact, the black on top with the red on the bottom, I think it's really nice. That I mentioned the range extender. That basically is just essentially an electric generator. I want to make sure I get this correctly. It's kind of a tiny engine and a tiny little fuel tank along with it. What else is new for this year? I mentioned the i3S, which is the 60 amp per hour version, which is what was last year. That's the base model last year is no longer available this year. The front and rear bumpers are restyled. The windshield pillars are now black up there along the front, the A-pillars. Full LED headlights are now standard, and inside there's an updated 10.3 inch iDrive system in the back, which is fantastic. And a dual voltage 120 volt 240 volt charging cord is available as well, which that's just the standard. So I'm going to open up this back end right here, and you can see, I apologize, we got some grass and stuff in here, was carrying a little bit of cargo. A decent amount of storage room, and I do want to make sure I get to that really quick. 15.1 cubic feet of trunk, and part of it's due, well, number one, you got the batteries, and then obviously the electric motors and so on and so forth. One thing I am going to show you, Walt, I'll have you hop out, we can't do it on that right side because Walt seats forward, but in order to fold this seat down, you just pull this back and you actually push that forward, and these seats can actually fold flat. So my wife and I, we actually had to take the stroller and the baby this past weekend. We wanted to go to kind of the park, which was a decent drive away, nothing too major, about 15-20 minutes. We were able to fit the stroller and everything in there, and as well as the baby seat in the second row, which actually is surprisingly roomy. And so we're changing the format of the review just a little bit for this vehicle. We're going to open both of these doors so Walt can show you the interior on both sides. You see, one thing that sticks out is these very blue seat belts. It's just kind of a feature that has the car stand out a little bit much. As you come into the interior, again, you're going to notice it's just very much a different feel. You've got carbon fiber throughout. It's built on a carbon fiber frame, which helps, or not the frame, but it's built on a carbon fiber platform, which helps it to just have that much more availability and I guess lighterability. And I know that's not a word, but essentially they've saved weight by doing that. The interior of this is the Giga World interior. It's usually leather and cloth. There's a couple different ones to choose from. This vehicle also has the Tech and Driving Assist package on it, which is accelerating stop and go, active drive assist, navigation system. The Giga, the leather and cloth, which also gives you a light eucalyptus trim. As well, it does come out, you'll notice the 20-inch wheels. The infotainment system is very easy to use. It's real wood throughout, so that is a feature in terms of the luxury side of things. That is really, really nice in our opinion. Again, two trims available, the i3 and the i3S, both of which are battery electric. In terms of, I want to make sure I get this correct, so forgive me for looking down at my sheets here really quick. So I'll close that. Again, 20-inch wheels, as I mentioned right there. You've got your charging port back here, and you can just do your standard outlet, Walt, and we will show people this because I think this is a little bit different from other manufacturers. That's the standard charging port that you're going to find on most electric vehicles these days, and underneath here is actually where, if you actually go to some of the DC fast charge stations, you can get this thing up to essentially 80%, I want to say in like 30 minutes, which is really incredible. The i3S has 184 horsepower as compared to the 170 horsepower of the i3 itself, so just a little bit sportier of a suspension. Sorry, I want to make sure I put that back in there. We'll close that. This is the spot up here for the generator fuel, and again, that really is strictly a generator. Again, I want to make sure I get this correctly. So the i3S, it shortens its sprint time and stuff, but the let me see here, the wider tires has the range drop from 7 miles, from 114 miles to 107 miles. With the range extender on here, it gives you a maximum combined range of about 180 miles. And I apologize about that, I was just reading through my notes here. I just wanted to make sure I noted that. So that range extender, when it comes on, when the battery gets really, really low, it kind of sounds a little bit like a, I'll be honest, like a little bit of a golf cart sort of a thing, to where it fires up. It's a little bit noisy, but if you're not really worried about that, then it's not a huge deal. But again, nearly 100 miles on all electric, and of course, that is in optimal conditions as well. What else about this vehicle? I guess I'm gonna, well, actually real quick, fuel economy, don't really need to know too much, but 31 kilowatt hours per 100 miles. The price on this vehicle, base price, again, the i3S, $51,500, as tested $58,695. So some of you are gonna say, oh my gosh, that's incredibly expensive. It is, but it is getting into the luxury of the electric cars and the battery powered cars, and I do like that range extender, which again, keep in mind, is on this vehicle, and all of this is before the tax credits that do get applied. Who's this car for? Well, if you're just a regular commuter, if you like BMW, looking for a little bit more luxury in your car, it was able to fit full-size adults, relatively comfortable in the back seat, not too crammed at all, so definitely is an option for you. If you're going over, you know, maybe 100 miles in a day, you may want to make sure that you can charge, because when that engine does get on and as you drop below some thresholds, there are going to be some governing and such that does kick in. But for the most part, actually a fun little car to drive. Again, you're going to have to be the judge if this is the car for you. It's quick, it's powerful, as you would expect from electric motors, instantaneous torque with that, which is really fantastic. And actually really enjoyed driving this car. Again, the price tag was something that we looked at initially and was like, oh my gosh, I'm not sure if we would like to pay that for it. But again, we're not the ones necessarily buying the cars, you guys are, so you'll be the judge. Go out, test drive this vehicle, put your family in it, see if it fits for you, see if it fits your commute, you know, take the ranges, that sort of thing. Maybe go do some research on what it is when it's super cold outside, that sort of thing, because you are going to lose some range that way. But if you're just looking for it around town, that sort of thing, definitely would be a car to consider, especially on the EV side of things. So if you want to learn more about this vehicle, head to your local BMW dealer and let them know that John and Richard Rush from Drive Radio sent you.